Hockey fans, are you ready to brave the wild? With me, your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Brave the Wild is available on the sportstuff.com, iTunes, Stitcher, and Double Twist. Pleasure to be back on board once again today. The Minnesota Wild have yet another 3-in-1 week. That's right, the winning record continues. Rock and roll, as Santana would say, I'm winning. Yes, I'm not going to sing it the way he sang it because I'm not qualified for that. The Wild remain in first place. They've built a little cushion between themselves and the Blackhawks. They are 4 points ahead of Chicago with 3 games in hand as well. So looking good. Of course, yes, don't get try not to think about when's the swoon going to happen, when's this going to happen, when's that going to happen. You know what? Let's try not to think that. How about let's just enjoy it and let's think about the possibility that this just might be a fantastic season with a happy ending. We'll see. Let's hope for the best for that. The possibility exists and persists, and let's keep it persisting. And I think it will when you have a head coach that doesn't allow his players to feel sorry for themselves. Literally, as he said in that pissed off locker room in Washington years ago. That was That's Bruce Boudreau. He doesn't have players feeling sorry for themselves. So what? We're losing by one shot. Big deal. One bleeping shot. We're going to get all down about it. Stuff like that. And that's pretty much what's been going on. With Mike Yeo, it just continued. The players feeling sorry for themselves. And I think that's going on in St. Louis right now. I don't know. Those players, there's no way they're happy with the direction of that team. That'll be the final game review. 4 games to review, only 2 to preview as we head into the All-Star break. You got Bruce Boudreau and Devin Dubnyk going to the All-Star game. Congratulations there. Rock and roll to Los Angeles, California. And you got the top 100 all-time players because it's the centennial for the National Hockey League, 100 years. It's just amazing. So many players from the back in the old days of Toronto. I mean, Toronto used to be a great franchise. Our generation never saw that, obviously. Canada kind of got, with the rule changes and such, with who can draft who and such, who can go after who. Montreal and Toronto, kind of different situation there. Those are the 2 all-time Stanley Cup leaders in history. Montreal with 24 cups, Toronto with quite a few as well. They haven't won one since the 60s and all that. So, yeah, I'm kind of bouncing all over the place thinking about the centennial going into the All-Star break. Why not? I mean, now's the time to do it. Of course, we're going to talk about the prospects and such, and Gophers unfortunately losing. I won't talk too much about that game or anything, but just in general, Gophers unfortunately losing 3-2 last night to Duluth. Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs. I'm not too surprised, but doggone it. You got number 2 seed in the whole nation versus number 6. You hope maybe the Gophers can win that game, but it just didn't happen. Damn it. All right, well, let's talk about a team that did win. And, of course, Hockey Day Minnesota, Saturday, January 21st. Frustrating day as the Gopher basketball team loses by 2 points. I know, unrelated to hockey, could not beat those damn Badgers. I hate Wisconsin, everything about them, except maybe the Brewers back in the old days with Paul Molitor. And the Bucks are okay, but everything else, I hate the Badgers. I hate the Packers. And then Gopher hockey takes the lead. They look all good, and then the floodgates open. It was like Union all over again for Gopher hockey. Union, just boom, 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 boom. Next thing you know, Wisconsin's up 5-2, and you're just sitting there staring at the television like, are you freaking kidding me? And the Gophers lose that 5-3. Just pisses you off because they started off so well. And I love those maroon uniforms. I love the road maroons for the Gopher hockey team. Gopher men's hockey, by far my favorite college program on the planet. More than any college sport, any college program. Gopher hockey is my team. Sorry to you, all of you Huskies and Mavericks and all you fans in North Dakota. I don't know why you'd go that way, but oh boy. But it's like you're just begging, please rescue us, Minnesota Wild, please. And it started okay, and then things kind of started going sour. Just a messy game early on. Anaheim. Obviously, Eric Hall started off early, scoring his first goal in forever. Nice to see Eric Hall in that third line. Zach Parise, Jason Pominville. The chemistry early and often with these guys. Yes, moving things around again like Mr. Boudreau likes to do. Of course, the second line will always be Jason Zucker-Koivu and Mikhail Granlund is now leading the team in scoring. Why would you touch that line? Pray to God nobody gets hurt. But that third line playing great. The top line getting quieter with Coyle. Of course, Niederreiter's not quiet, but Coyle and Stahl really stalling of late, pardon the pun. But Haula opening things up early, you think, okay, good, they're going to rescue us. Next thing you know, Stefan Nolsson and Cam Fowler end the first period with Anaheim up 2-1. Terrible turnover, shorthanded, unassisted for Cam Fowler. Just devastating. Couldn't believe it. Just left you staring at the TV screen as Anaheim takes a 2-1 lead, and things continue to struggle. The Wild get a penalty early in that second period. Corey Perry burying his 9th goal of the season. It's 3-1, and you're just thinking, oh, God, I can't believe this. And then Jason Zucker able to get to the loose puck and just take off, explode up to the Anaheim goaltender. Of course, in this case, Jonathan Bernier, because Gibson was injured early. Bernier was strong for so long. And then it's like, are we ever going to get one past Bernier? You got one past Gibson real early, and of course he was hurt. Like we said, people were wondering what was wrong. Hit up in the upper body area, and that's how they say in hockey, just upper body, lower body, or body injury. That's nice, a body injury. But Jonathan Bernier, who I, again, would say wouldn't mind having him replace Kemper, but yeah, he's not going to at this point. Zucker finally breaks the ice, literally, past Bernier. Early in that second period, 3-2 hockey game. The Wild stay in it. We get some chances back and forth for both clubs. Devin Dubnyk, after giving up 3 goals, just put the clamps down and shut this team out the rest of the way. 11 shots on goal for Anaheim, 8 for Minnesota. A fairly entertaining second period. And then the Wild got aggressive, and Bernier just could not respond to it in that third period. They got some nice chances, and they were able to bury him. I mean, Bernier went from a guy who was stopping everything to a guy that suddenly looked like Darcy Kemper. Eric Haula with his 9th goal of the year. Suter and Dumba assisting there. So Suter and Dumba working together in that one. So no Parisi, no Pominville assisting on that one, unfortunately, for those guys. Parisi desperately needs points, and he did get one early there, very early at the beginning of the game. Suter puts one past Bernier on the nice quick shot. Bernier, no, good pass from Niederreiter. Coyle with a much-needed assist. It's been a drought for him. Much needed. Just like, oh, please count that assist. The Wild suddenly take the lead with goals within just a couple minutes there. 2 goals. Jason Zucker then buries yet another. Just beautiful. Mikhail Granlund and Zucker, it is the most beautiful thing ever. And next thing you know, it's 5-3. Unbelievable. Just the aggressiveness and the passion of this club. They pick each other up. They set each other up with spectacular passes, and guys actually finish, which was a problem in the past. Eric Haula goes from 7 goals to 9 goals, back-to-back, 2 goals in this game, pardon me. A guy who's needed points. I mean, that whole third line, Pominville, Parisi, and Haula, all just like suffering in the desert, dying for points, and they pick them up. They've been picking them up lately, and the chemistry has been phenomenal. Hockey is a game of streaks. Like in basketball, they say it's a game of runs. 9-0 run, 7-1 run, 5-0 run, okay, 10-0 run, 12-0 run this way. Wow, a game of runs where everything can change. To me, hockey is a game of streaks. Like Charlie Coyle, point here, point there, multi-point game, great, and Pominville's not doing anything. Oh, he's on a downtrend. He's not been doing jack crap. Next thing you know, Pominville's been on a streak, like 10 points in 10 games, 12 points in 11 games. Wow, Pominville's really picking it up. Coyle, it's just like, 2-3 points in 10 games, real quiet of late. So it is a game of streaks. Same thing with Eric Stahl. Eric Stahl is just racking the points up. And then you have consistent guys like Zucker and Granlund, who's just been unbelievable all year. Koivu not picking up the assists of late, but still, he's still a part of that line. He's still the leader of that line and winning the faceoffs and such. And, of course, the defensive ability of that number 2 center. He's been so good for this team for so long, and he's staying healthy, which is nice. And you're not counting on him to lead the team in scoring, which was just, you're not going to get anywhere that way. But Zucker and Haula, both of the multi-goal game, pardon me. Zucker, 14 goals on the year now. Haula with 9. And the Wild rescue Minnesota. Oh, thank heavens for that. I can't say thank heaven for number 7, at least in this one. But Stewart would, again, be a hero very soon here against the Dallas Stars. Zucker and Haula just turning on the Jets, 2 of the fastest players on the roster, and also showing their skills as well. Zucker really turning on the Jets, though, in the midpoint of the game with that 13th goal of the season. Lucky number 13, and he got away from 13 as quick as possible later in the game. Granlund, though, leading the team in scoring, just continuing to be a great player right now. And I couldn't be happier. It is a contract year, yes, but that doesn't mean he isn't what he's really becoming. And I do believe he is a 70-point type of talent, and it's about time we're getting it. I believe it's the coach, not just the fact it's a contract year, because Granlund did pick it up late last year as well. He was on a 2-year bridge contract, a bridge to adios amigo, or a bridge to an extension. And I really want Granlund on this club long term. I can't believe there are those out there on Twitter or elsewhere that would like to see Granlund be the guy going to Las Vegas. Really? No. That would be terrible. That would be a terrible mistake. I knew it was going to be a trap game, and it happened. It happened Sunday, January the 22nd. Because why? Because why? It's a back-to-back, right? Well, back-to-back, this team will be fine. They've done well in back-to-backs, right? They've been just fine. Yeah, but Darcy Kemper's in that. See, it would have been one thing if Darcy Kemper was in net against Anaheim, but now he's in net against Nashville. And Nashville's due. Pekka Rinne has gotten his butt kicked time and time again by the Wild the past 2 years, but it's kind of, there's going to be a turn of tide here. The tides are going to turn, and Peter Laviolette was due for his 500th win as well, and everything kind of went Nashville's way at the end of the day because Darcy Kemper just wasn't up to the task. Nashville's defense was grinding the whole time. They were blocking shots. The Wild only managed 23 shots on net. And Pekka Rinne was solid. Darcy Kemper wasn't bad. I gotta tell you, he wasn't bad in this game. But I had a feeling it was going to be 4-2. Luckily for Kemper, the fourth goal did not count because it was an empty netter. But Kemper wasn't that great in this game. He really wasn't. Granlund and Pominville, though, you got this feeling like everything's going to be fine. Jordan Schrader up centering the second line because Mikko Koivu out with illness. So, all right, that's a bummer. But Jordan Schrader, Zucker, has set up Granlund for another goal here. Real early. Granlund with his 11th goal of the season, and he just continues to rack up the points. Nice to see Schrader getting his 5th assist there. The guy who's just, I want him on this NHL roster if it's 4th line or whatever. But nice to see that second line continued to do what they're capable of, and that Schrader was able to center that line and do a great job and keep up with this. He's obviously a speedster along with Zucker and Granlund. Is able to score very early on Pekka Rinne. Only 5 minutes later, Jason Pominville adding his 7th goal of the season. He continues his hot run. That rifle shot by Jason Pominville, it's just different. I mean, he's Jason Pominville again. He's the guy the Wild should have taken instead of Kyle Wanvig back in 2001 in the second round. Second round pick, taking several picks after Kyle frickin' Wanvig. Can you imagine Pominville all those years when he was real good? 60, 70-point guy, 50-point guy in his early days, but all the way up to 80 at one point with those Buffalo Sabres. Oh, Pominville, with that rifle wrister that he's got. It was a beauty. Nice lead pass from Holla, and Pominville kind of was off to the races and just rifled that thing past Rinne. You're up 2-0. You think, okay, great, but don't forget, Kemper's in net. And Kemper had been better. Kemper was better in this game for a while, was steady, solid. And he was facing a good amount of shots from Nashville. Shots, as we'd like to say in Canada and in the NHL. You're only down by 1 shot. No, I love Boudreaux. But James Neal, the leading scorer for Nashville, the leading goal scorer as well, gets the first one past Kemper. Forsberg adds 2 more, and that third one was just, oh, crap. I mean, some nice passing by Nashville. Quick one-timer by Forsberg. But, it's just, really, Kemper, you weren't ready for that one? Really? And that just left us all kind of like, really, Kemper? Really? And it was less than 7 minutes remaining in the game. The Wild couldn't get anything past Rinne. And then Ryan Johansson, the guy, again, I always talk about the Wild tried to trade for him last year. He's not that great. I'm glad we didn't give up too much, and you can see why. Then again, he's a good playmaker. He's kind of their Granlund. I shouldn't say that. He is a good player. Not a goal scorer, though, and the Wild needed a goal scorer so badly, more than a playmaker last year. Whereas right now, the Wild have consistent goal scorers everywhere. No Superman, but so many guys at double-digit goals. It's a franchise record already. And it's NHL leaning right now, which is really crazy. Ryan Johansson adding his 8th goal of the year, kind of like Granlund, right? That's all he got some of his goals earlier in the year, empty netter. But hey, you earn it with hustle and an inaccurate shot from a long distance, and Johansson able to get that done. Nashville wins 4-2, and you're just like, sheesh, I knew this was going to happen. I knew we weren't going to beat Nashville. It just reeked of it, and it is what it is. The Wild's defense not as solid as it had been. Nashville getting 12 shots on goal in that third period. They were not going to go home without Laviolette's 500th win, and they were not going to go home down 3-0 in the season series with the Minnesota Wild. The Wild have one more game against them. Hopefully, 2 more games. Pardon me. This is a 5-gamer because they're division rivals. February the 18th. Whoa, that's a familiar day in my past. We'll leave that alone. And then April Fools. Hopefully, it won't be the case for the Wild in Nashville. So, of course, all games on FSN, blah, blah, blah. You know that, Fox Sports North. But Philip Forsberg, who'd been having a quiet year, starting to pick it up a bit. And believe it or not, he has the same amount of goals as Jason Zucker at that stage. Wild lose a frustrating one. I mean, Kemper, okay, he gave up 3 goals. That's not good, but it's better than 4, I suppose. The 4th goal unearned due to empty net situation there. Tuesday, January the 24th, clamps down a little bit. Not quite a 5-goal game like it was last time around. Not quite 4-0, just like that against Anthony. I mean, that poor guy. I felt so bad for him. 3 shots, 3 goals. Anthony, I mean. And then Kari Lehtinen in there to replace him. Well, Lehtinen was in there from the get-go Tuesday the 24th of January. And he was better, obviously better. It was going to be a different type of game, but so is Dubnyk in there instead of Kemper. I mean, Dubnyk is in there instead of Kemper. You're going to have a little bit more clamps down here. An entertaining first period. The Wild very aggressive. 14 shots. Nice. 33 for Minnesota, 37 for Dallas. Dubnyk earned that contract. Boy, he earned his money, the big money he makes in this night, as the Stars really, really tested him early and often. Pominville able to be the recipient of a loose puck, just riding around the boards, and he just kind of took off. And again, the rifle shot from Pominville, of course, unassisted. 8th goal of the year, 1-0 Minnesota, late in the first period. And then you saw Koivu again set up beautifully. I mean, the Niederreiter pass. I mean, nice pass. This is just like, oh my God, textbook spectacular hockey. I mean, like tic-tac-toe on super steroids. Granlund, awesome pass to Niederreiter. Niederreiter, even better pass to Koivu with that wrister shot that he's really helped the Wild this season. Nice to see him back in the lineup. 14th goal of the year. Just, that was an awesome power play goal. Niederreiter really been stepping up. He's definitely a Madonna candidate for the week. Granlund, 29th assist of the year. Niederreiter, 19th of the year. As there were times Niederreiter was more goals than assists, but my God, these guys can pass the puck. I mean, Zucker, of course, became more of a passer than he was in the past. Granlund, just even better passer than ever. And Koivu burying, as he was like kind of a questionable goal scorer in the past. And boy, just that was quick one-timers by Koivu. You just gotta love him. And Niederreiter's pass was just sick. Kind of a reverse to Koivu, kind of a reverse pass. Just wow. And then Sagan and Patrick Eaves, about 10 minutes apart in the same period. Sagan adding his 17th goal of the year. Patrick Eaves, 18th goal of the year. And in that third period, Dubnyk was left out to dry on occasion. There was a turnover in that third period where Charlie Coyle had the puck, fell over. I don't know what happened. He fell. And same thing going on with Mr. Grayevac too. I mean, he is just, he is hard to watch. He stinks. Or is that the next game? Yes. This was the game. Yep, Grayevac got sat down because they were looking to possibly send him back down to Iowa, which they didn't. But Grayevac, he's tough to watch. I gotta say, it's like he can't even stick handle, and he loses the puck. His skating stinks. I don't know what to say about Grayevac of late. Certainly not the guy we thought we were getting, and the guy that we saw earlier in the year when he was working hard and he was skating well and actually putting in some nice goals. But Charlie Coyle, he's definitely been struggling. Terrible turnover. And off they went to the races. Dallas Stars 3-0 on Devin Dubnyk, and Dubnyk makes the save. Hallelujah. I guarantee if Kemper's in there, that puck's going in the net. Dubnyk, great save, and the Wilds are saved there. The game goes to OT. Of course, nobody scores there. Then you get into the shootout. Patrick Eaves scoring right away. Pominville answers. Thank God for that. And then it's back and forth with Sagan and Parise. Of course, nothing going there. Sharp and Zucker, nothing going there. Ben and Koivu finishing. Koivu again with that patented backhand. Spezza stopped. And then Chris Stewart with... What a great goal. They were debating on if Stewart should go out there on this one or not, or should wait for a little while. The Stewart puts in a highlight reel type of play on the backhand. Just totally fooled Lehtinen and just flat out beat him. Got it underneath the pads. Great play by Stewart, and the Wild escape with a victory in the shootout. I had a feeling this one might go to a shootout. I had a feeling it would be a lower scoring game because I didn't think Dallas was going to have the floodgates open like that, like last time. And the Wild certainly weren't either with Kemper in net. And the Wild come out victors. Hallelujah. Thank God there. Dallas ticking up a much-needed single point to stick around in that playoff race, despite the fact they're only 500 on the year. If Dallas is in the Eastern Conference, they'd pretty much be in last place. But you have teams like Colorado who are like 20 games under 500 right now, only 28 points on the year. Ooh, Colorado. Dallas still in a fairly strong position, only 3 points behind the St. Louis Blues at this moment. Insane. Speaking of the St. Louis Blues, and yes, Graovac just could not even hang on to the puck in the game. I mean, looked like he was going to fall over. I was hoping the Wild were going to send him down because he wasn't playing in the Nashville game. The Wild had called up Bursky, who'd been doing better down in Iowa. Not great, but better. And then they send him back down, and they keep Graovac. I don't know what the hell. Graovac again. I mean, I can't even watch the guy right now. He can't even hang on to the puck. So, okay, sure, he scores against St. Louis. But, yeah, we'll talk about that goal in a second. I mean, did he score the goal, or was he just kind of right place, right time? He was just kind of there, like a post, the puck bouncing off a post. Yeah. Regardless, St. Louis is a team in disarray. St. Louis, it seems like they're losing interest, and their goaltending situation is not good at all. Jake Allen has not been very good this year. Carter Hutton was a sieve the whole night. He faced 30 shots. Let's give credit a little bit where the Wild's offense was focused and ready to say, hey, St. Louis, you were good in the past, but we're the good team now. And you beat us twice earlier in the year when they were actually playing pretty good. The Wild even up the season series with St. Louis. In fact, we're actually ahead because the last loss was a shootout loss, November the 26th, back when the Wild were not quite on their super-duper streak yet. As we were head to Canada and lose a couple more there, Vancouver and Calgary. But the Wild picked up a much-needed point at that particular time. At this stage, St. Louis with 4 points in the series, the Wild with 5, and then you head into Tuesday, March the 7th, the day before my brother's birthday, in Xcel Energy Center to wrap the season series up, which I would hope the Wild will win. But the defense in this St. Louis team, the focus, the energy, not there. Again, the goaltending, not good. Carter Hutton just got his butt kicked in this game, and he hasn't been good this year. Jake Allen hasn't been good. He stopped the only 3 shots he faced after Carter Hutton was mercifully pulled after the 5th goal was allowed. Mr. Carter Hutton. Eric Halla, that third line again, the second line again, scoring early in the second period. The first period, the teams traded shots apiece, obviously 10 shots. This was St. Louis's best period. They looked like the better team slightly. A slight edge to St. Louis in that first period. The Wild only mustered 8 shots. The defense looked focused. And then the Wild just said, you know what, screw this crap. We're going to take these guys down. 18 shots on goal. That was fun stuff. St. Louis only 7. The Wild dominate the puck possession in the second period. It was so much fun. Nito Niederreiter, just spectacular in this game. 3 points for him. Granlund adding 2 points, 1 goal, 1 assist. Dubnyk obviously getting the win again. And he was just spectacular. Halla, 10th goal of the year. Doesn't get just gotta love it. A nice feed from Parisi. Halla able to finish on the rebound. And there it goes. 10th goal of the year. Of course, Tarasenko, you see him on the breakaway. What do you think's going to happen? It doesn't matter if it's Devin Dubnyk or Kemper. Tarasenko scores every time. He's literally St. Louis's Patrick Kane. And he actually has more goals than Patrick Kane on the season. Wow. You know things are going right, though, when 6 minutes later, the Wild get the 2-1 lead. You know things are going to go right for the Wild. Well, after Dumba and Niederreiter, Dumba sets up Niederreiter, who again gets the puck on net. There's a juicy rebound that bounces off of Graovac's skate. Luckily, there was no kicking motion. It just bounced off Graovac's skate and went in, his 4th goal of the year. They're celebrating as if Graovac made a great play there. Okay, good. It was nice that he was Johnny on the spot. I mean, he missed the puck. He couldn't even hit the puck. He missed. His stick missed it, but his skate hit it. That works. Okay. And that's been Graovac. He's just a clumsy klutz out there. But it went in, and there was no kicking motion, and it counted. And the Wild go up 2-1. And next thing you know, the second line again. And this time, Niederreiter again with Koivu and Granlund on the power play. Beautiful setup again. Niederreiter and Granlund finish to Koivu yet again. Just another awesome play. Niederreiter finishing his 15th goal of the year. On the Yep, it was his 15th goal of the year after Eric Stahl and Coyle were able to set him up the top line there. Niederreiter the top line finally getting something done there. You got to like that. Granlund netting one 30 seconds later, and that was all there was for Hutton. Granlund's 12th goal of the season. That was a legitimate goal, by the way. Nothing, no little lucky falling down and putting it in. But then again, that's actually a good play too. But nothing crazy for Granlund. It was the real deal. And he just continues to play with incredible confidence. And he's a leading scorer on the team. And he absolutely deserves it. Eric Stahl, luckily, at least keeping up with Granlund a little bit, getting 1 point in this game, and Coyle as well. 25th assist for each of them. Those guys kind of hanging on there. They still might end up leading the team in scoring later on, but Granlund really riding a wonderful wave right now. 12th goal of the season. The Wild up 5-1, and things just kind of went as they did the rest of the way. The teams traded a few shots. They had their little wall battles, this and that. The Wild not as aggressive after that. 4-goal lead. Let's just put the clamps down, not allow St. Louis to get too much going. They were able to only muster 8 shots. The Wild playing more of a trap game in that third period, and that was all she wrote. Dubnyk only giving up 1 goal in the game, only facing 25 shots. And of course, it was Tarasenko, the best scorer. You got to love how, when you see the game story for this one, like, it's almost insulting. You know, it's a 5-1 win for the Wild, yet they're showing Tarasenko celebrating his goal. Really? Like as if the Blues won 5-1. That's kind of insulting. What the hell, Yahoo? Look at you. But an overall wonderful performance for the Wild. Fun little game. We remain in first place, 4 points ahead, and all that. Awesome. Let's continue things going. The Wild are now ahead of Columbus by 1 point, but trail Washington by 2. So the Wild right there at the top, and I mean the top of the National Hockey League at this moment. Wow. Let's keep her going. Mike Modano Award winner for the week is going to be Mikael Granlund, the leading scorer. He's been fantastic. Dubnyk was not perfect in the Anaheim game. He was good the rest of the way. Strong against Dallas, strong against St. Louis. Kemper, not so good this week, but he's not going to get the James Chapman Memorial. It's Tyler Graovac. I mean, you know, and Coyle should be an honorable mention. He has really been struggling. I mean, he had a shot, nobody near him against Dallas, you know, and he wasn't that far away, maybe about 20 feet or less, and he missed the net by like 5 feet. It was pathetic. I mean, it was Blair Walsh-like. Really? He sliced it to the right. I mean, it was wide right. Just a terrible shot. And I don't know. And yes, to be fair, he has been playing hurt with an ankle. I mean, the way he's been handling the puck lately, and I'm sure that might be one of the reasons he fell because of the injury. And I got to think that does affect his motion on his shot. I wouldn't be surprised if he has some type of a hand injury too. Something's bugging Coyle. And yes, again, the ankle I'm sure has a lot to do with the motion of that shot too, because obviously you're moving and all that, and you need so that's part of it. And Graovac looks like he's not even an NHL player, even close right now. I mean, he looks like he's the kind of guy who'd be out there just to fight people. That's what he looks like, and that's not who he is either. He's supposed to be an offensive player. He's actually been complaining, I'm an offensive player. I'm not here just to be a defensive player. Well, I'm not seeing any offense from you, so I don't know. You have opportunities and you're not burying anything. Graovac not been too impressive, and sounds like they're not too happy with him. We'll see what happens. It all matters. If you're going to send anybody down, it should be him, not Jordan Schrader. They're talking about if you're going to bring Alex Tuck up, Schrader would go back down to Iowa. Why? I would put Graovac down. I don't know. We'll just let them make their own decision. But that's the first segment, a very animated, fun first segment, a fun 4 games, honestly, even though there was that frustrating loss to Nashville. Kemper was better, but still not that good. He's not good. That goal allowed by Forsberg's second goal of the game, not that good. Really, you got to be there for that one. So we will jump into the All-Star break with this, and then we will preview the 2 games. In the second segment, of course, we'll talk about the prospects as well. are back here on Brave the Wild, segment number 2, preview segment, and of course, prospect checkup and all that. Well, after the All-Star game and everything, and when Devin Dubnyk wins the MVP for shutting out the other side there, yep. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? So we'll just let things go as is there. The Wild and the Edmonton Oilers face off in Edmonton, Alberta. This is, of course, Tuesday, January the 31st. We're wrapping up the month of January 2017, already done. And yeah, I should mention also today is January the 28th. 9 years ago today, the very first episode of my podcasting life, my podcasting career, paladinolive, was released. Paladinolive episode number 1, the first of what would be more than 600 now episodes at this stage, was released 9 bleeping years ago. Insane. So just giving you a heads up on that. So the 600th show did not air on Brave the Wild. That was Purple Mafia this time around. The 500th show was Brave the Wild, and I barely talked about it, and that was kind of silly on my part. But the 9th episode right here, right now. Awesome. Or the 9th year, 9-year anniversary. Right here and right now. Just giving you a fun little heads up there. Minnesota Wild, Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers started the season strong. Then they went into a bit of a swoon there. They were all the way down to the wild card range, or just hanging on to third place in a not so good Pacific Division. Now they're back tied for first place with the San Jose Sharks. They're ahead of Anaheim by a point, 64 points in the year for the Edmonton Oilers. They're only 5 points behind the Wild. I mean, Edmonton Oilers playing great hockey right now. Wow, good on them. They're back to being the Oilers again, kind of. I wouldn't quite compare them to the boys in the 80s, Gretzky and such. The Wild 2-0 against Edmonton, both of them in overtime. So Edmonton with 2 points out of the 2 games, the Wild with 4. They wrap up the season series in Edmonton, Alberta at the end of January here on Tuesday. Fun. This will be a fun matchup. I like Edmonton. I kind of always have. I've always seen them as kind of the team that's going to come out of they're going to be the team that's going to come out of their doldrums at some point, and when they do, it's going to be quick. And here they are, Connor McDavid leading the way with 59 points on the year. They're winning with goal scoring without a doubt. And Cam Talbot has been good. 2.33 goals against average, 4 shutouts on the year, save percentage over 92. That ain't bad. Cam Talbot, definitely a nice goaltender for a highfalutin scoring machine here in Edmonton, Alberta. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, we always talked about, we were trying to make a trade with them in the summertime. They wanted Jared Spurgeon. Who knows what they wanted, but Jared Spurgeon was always the possibility there. Tyler Pitlick, the son of Lance Pitlick. And then, of course, there's Rem Pitlick on the Gophers right now, who's doing fairly well. He's a prospect for... Oh, I knew who it was. It might be Anaheim. I forget. But Tyler Pitlick, God, I knew who it was. Benoit Pouliot certainly dropping off. He's way down in that fourth line, only 10 points on the year. Not the guy he was a couple of years ago, but because there's just so much depth on this frickin' team in Edmonton. I mean, that's why Ryan Nugent-Hopkins down to only 26 points, but still 11 goals, 15 assists. We'd still take that here. I mean, that ain't bad. Don't get me wrong. Milan Lucic, 29 points on the year. Jordan Eberle has been really nice, 32 points. Leon Draisaitl with 46 points on the year, 19 goals, 27 assists. A dominant performance. Connor McDavid, an even better playmaker than he is a goal scorer. He's got 17 goals, 42 assists, 59 points in only 51 games. And I say only because the fact he's got 8 more points than games played. I mean, the guy's already become a superstar. Leon Draisaitl was the 3rd overall pick for the Oilers in 2014. Boy, they've been, for the longest time, they were taking guys who were decent. They were good, but they weren't like putting this team over the hump. Now, bada bing, bada boom, and then Connor McDavid, the perfect example of, like, you pick number 1 overall, you're hoping you're going to get a phenom, and they got one. This guy is just crazy. Plus 18 on the season, 16 power play points, unbelievable overall. Of course, the 2015 pick in the draft out of Richmond Hill, Ontario. Where's the year he was born, which is kind of fun. That seems to be a trend of late because obviously stars in NHL like to have those big numbers like the 90s and the upper 90s or even the 80s sometimes, 88, this and that. This is a nice team. I think the Wild can beat them, but boy, they're going to have a hell of a time. They've won 4 out of their last 5. They only lost to Nashville, Pekka Rinne there, 3-2, kind of similar to the Wild on January the 20th, Inauguration Day. Thank you very much. Calgary Flames. Anaheim and San Jose, all division rivals, all falling victim to the Edmonton Oilers. The Flames give up 7 freaking goals to Edmonton. That's insane. Anaheim shut out 4-0. Anaheim shutout 4-0. Wow, San Jose 4-1, and these are road games for Edmonton, so this is not going to be an easy game, and it's in Edmonton. Rutrow. This is not going to be easy. No, this is not going to be an easy game. Well, let's take care of business here because Edmonton might be the number one seed in the West if we let them win here. You know, they're the way they're rolling. Jeez, how about them Oilers, man? They're playing. They are playing like the '80s Oilers. I mean, talk about taking care of business on a road trip. 3-0 on a road trip, and teams that are not easy to beat. The California Curse and Calgary in the Saddle Dome. That's not the easiest place to play. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But geez, Jiminy Christmas, 15 goals in 4 games. Okay. You know, I want to pick a Wild win. I do, but I don't know. I don't know about this one. I like the way the Wild have been playing, though. You spank on St. Louis, you crush them, you kick their butts. Devin Dubnyk will be in net, and of course he is going against his former team. That might be where I can come out in good faith that the Wild will be able to stop the winning streak of the Edmonton Oilers. Man, they're playing good. They're a young team, and maybe this break might kind of ice them more than they would ice the Wild, because obviously both teams playing well and all that. Oh boy, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of this game. I'm having trouble picking a winner here. I'm seeing 3-3, 3-3, and going into overtime. We're gonna have another overtime game with this club, overtime or shootout performance. But I'm seeing 3-3. Most likely guy to score for the Minnesota Wild. Let's go with Niederreiter. He's been playing really well. I always pick Jared Spurgeon because he's from Edmonton. I'm going to go with Niederreiter. I just have a feeling. I can just see that name, Niederreiter, against this club. Dubnyk should be strong. Of course, Zucker and Dumba scored the last time around. And Nugent Hopkins, I think he'll be one of the 3 scorers, most likely, along with maybe Connor McDavid. I don't know. 2-1 game back in December the 4th. That was a close one. They played 5 games apart of each other, and the Wild won both of them. And that was back when 5 days apart. And that was back when the Wild were just getting started. They went from a team that wasn't playing well to a team that suddenly was playing well. The Edmonton Oilers definitely helped the Wild oil their machine in a nice way. Coyle, another guy. I see him scoring against Calgary. I'm already getting ahead of myself. Who's going to win in the shootout? See, that's the thing. I see 3-3 and going into OT. Pardon the rhyme there. Oh boy. I don't know. I mean, this is a hard one. I'm gonna pick Edmonton winning the game right now. And you know what? And so what if I pick them to win and the Wild win? Okay, good. Then I'm wrong. I'm happy to be wrong. But I think Edmonton will win the game. In the shootout or in overtime. I'll say overtime. I see something developing like a Connor McDavid, or no, like a Nugent Hopkins. I see something like that. Nugent Hopkins gets loose on some type of play and he finishes in OT, and the Edmonton Oilers beat the Wild 4-3 in OT. So it won't be like 4 games allowed in regulation, but it'll count as an overtime situation. This Edmonton team is scoring like crazy, and I don't know. I don't have the best feeling about this one. So let's move on quickly. The old Northwest Division, the Wild playing against Edmonton and Calgary. This used to be a bad matchup for the Wild. It's become a good one for the most part. But actually, the Wild haven't been playing well against Calgary, no. And then we continue against, as we go into next week's show, we go to Vancouver, we go to Winnipeg, then we host the Blackhawks. Wow. And then eventually host the, that's 4 games there. Eventually host the Tampa Bay Lightning, who have not been playing well. A lot of people saw them winning it all this year. It doesn't look like it now. But Wild versus Calgary, February 1st, this hasn't been a very good matchup for the Wild of late. Their goaltending has been fantastic with Chad Johnson in net rather than Brian Elliott. You hope to see Brian Elliott there because he's not been good. Chad Johnson, who came in as the backup, and he's been fantastic ever since suiting up for the Calgary Flames. The Flames lead the series with, they have 4 points, and the Wild have 1, as the Wild lost in the shootout December the 2nd, before the Wild's hot streak started. A 1-0 loss, just a devastating heartbreaker at home. Boring hockey. People were very frustrated with that when they wanted their money back on November the 15th. I say the Wild win this one. See, that's the thing. We'll lose to Edmonton, but we'll beat Calgary. It's a back-to-back. See, now, boy, a back-to-back. I might have to change my prediction here. It's like I had a good feeling about it, but I don't know. this could end up being a very tough situation for the Wild. Is this going to be a resurgent night for Darcy Kemper? Because there's no way the Wild are going to put Kemper against Edmonton and then and then save Dubnyk for Calgary. It's going to be the opposite. Unless you go with Dubnyk back-to-back nights, which I don't recommend, even though there's been a break and everything. The schedule is going to get very busy, very, very busy not long after this. So, there's a couple-day break after that. You don't play until Saturday against Vancouver. But, I mean, you just don't put goalies in back-to-back nights. That's how they get hurt. That's how the Backstroms of the world got hurt. He was in the net too much. This is difficult. Will Darcy Kemper shut down Calgary enough? Will it be a 3-2 win for the Wild? Can they do it? I mean, Chad Johnson's been so good this year. Even though the Flames have not been good. They're only one game above 500. They're still fighting around for that wild card. Johnson hasn't been as good of late. That's the one thing, and Calgary's been really struggling. See, it's like, here we go. It's the opposite. They've lost to Nashville, lost to Edmonton, lost to Toronto, 4-0, lost to Montreal, 5-1. They beat Ottawa, though. What? They beat Ottawa? Okay. And then they host the Wild on the 1st. They end the All-Star break on the 1st. They'll be rested, and we won't. But will they be sluggish? Will they be off? That's the hope. I'll go. I am going to pick a win in this game. I think the Wild will beat the Calgary Flames. They need to beat this team, even if Darcy Kemper is in net. They have a little depth at the top, but nobody's really that great, and they've had some injuries. Yes, there's been a little bit of a going on with the broken finger situation and such. When the Wild broke the captain's finger there, with Gaudreau when he missed 10 games. Frustration there for Calgary. I'm going to pick a 3-2 win for the Wild. Most likely guy to score will be Charlie Coyle. Coyle will break out of his goalless streak. He will score. The Wild will win 3-2, believe it or not, even with Darcy Kemper in net. I think Kemper will have a nice rebound game. He'll finally have a solid game against a team that's been struggling pretty bad of late, despite the fact they beat Ottawa 3-2 on the road. I think the Wild will pick on a team that's been rested, but maybe they're a bit sluggish. They're probably not real happy with how things have been going, and the Wild will obviously be a bit ticked off probably with the Edmonton game if they end up losing it. If they end up losing it, maybe it'll go the opposite here. The Wild beat Edmonton and lose to Calgary, or maybe we'll win both. I don't know, but these back-to-backs are very tough, very unpredictable, to be honest. But right now I see the Wild winning 3-2 in Calgary against a team that'll probably be kind of just, maybe they'll be a little bit off, and the Wild will be a little bit more sharp, and Kemper will make the most of an opportunity with a team that has not been playing very well of late. So that's my vibe. 3-2 win, Minnesota. Most likely guy to score, Charlie Coyle. Let's check in on the prospects now, if humanly possible. It would be greatly appreciated. Let's do the traditional Dmitry Sokolov watch. Dmitry Sokolov of the Sudbury Wolves, 18-year-old Russian, of course, out of Omsk, Russia. 18 years old, born in 98, drafted in the 7th round, 196th overall by your Minnesota Wild. 49 points on the season, 33 goals, 16 assists for the Sudbury Wolves. In the Ontario Hockey League, he's a -20 for a team that's been struggling, but he's definitely by far and away the leading scorer for that club. And I was talking about him moving up to a higher level. I would like to see that, but I don't know. I mean, would it be a huge difference from the OHL to the AHL? It probably would be. And he is only 18, but it looks like to me the OHL, he's not going to get much better there at this point. I mean, his numbers it's like it's almost too easy for him. So that's my thing. At some point, I think Sokolov maybe should move to the Iowa Wild. We'll see by next year, though, not this year. Sudbury Wolves, that's pretty much like a junior league there right now at this stage. And of course, the Wild's property and all that. We're very, very pleased with how things are going there. Let's look at the Iowa Wild before we do anything else. There's other players in college, too, that are fun to watch and keep up with. Polkinen, of course, leading the Iowa Wild with 27 points. Kind of of course, we all know, fringe minor leaguer and all that. Mario Lucia and Gustav Olsson really kicking it up of late. They've had multi-point games in the past week, and they're playing much better. Mario Lucia and Gustav Olsson tied for third in scoring now with Iowa. 20 points apiece. Mario Lucia adding a goal and an assist. Gustav about 3 assists. Yeah, 3 assists since the last game. Lucia was at 15 points. It seemed like yesterday. He was at 13 points not that long ago. Mario Lucia starting to break through there down in Iowa. 20 points in 36 games. Olofsson, 42 games, 20 points for Olofsson. 15 assists. He got 2 assists just last night for Iowa. And the Iowa Wild have been playing better, too. Now they're 2 games above 500. Who saw that? The way, after how awful Iowa was the last couple of years, they're really starting to pick it up, and you're starting to see these prospects play better. The goaltending has been better. It's been nice. It's been absolutely nice. Sealer, the former Gopher defenseman, stay-at-home, physical, tough guy, 3 assists so far down in Iowa. He's not been bad. And Zach Dulpe trying to get healthy down there in Iowa, trying to get rolling again at this point. 7 games, 1 goal for Zach Dulpe, who made the Minnesota Wild out of training camp. He was the fourth line center for the Wild coming out there. Tuck adding a couple points as well this past week. That's really good news. Alex Tuck, of course, first round pick 2014, along with others. He's definitely the headliner, but that Luis Belpedio continuing to pick it up down in Miami, Ohio, though. He got another goal last night. Very cool. We'll talk about him in a second. But nice to see Alex Tuck. He's at 19 points in only 33 games. He's been strong. He's been very, very strong, very efficient. Very cool to see Lucia, though, picking it up. That is really good news because he was struggling for a while. Mr. Chuck Fletcher was saying that, he started off slow, but he's really been picking it up of late, and he's getting closer to the NHL than we may think. Very nice to see Mario Lucia developing. Of course, the Wild traded up for him back in 2011, and he spent three frustrating seasons. I would call them decent, but his senior year was pretty frustrating in Notre Dame. Not that good. Of course, his father also played for Notre Dame, not the Gophers. Luis Belpedio, let's talk about the high-scoring defenseman for Miami, Ohio. 14 points on the year. He scored his 6th goal last night for the University of Miami. They were I forgot who they were playing against. I had it and I missed it. But 14 points on the season, 6 goals, 8 assists. Really nice to see the junior defenseman there continuing to step it up for Miami. Will he be on the Iowa Wild next year? Don't be surprised. Getting things going there. Jack Sadek, of course, on the Gophers, 6 assists on the season. Well, 1 goal, 5 assists, 6 points so far. The former 7th rounder, he's on the Gophers. That's the main Gopher guy at this point in the Wild system. We already talked about Olofsson, guys like that. Carson Soucy, we saw a little bit of him last night. Just a big, physical, tough defenseman who's capable of putting points up as well. 3 goals, 10 assists on the season, 13 points. So far, his best season statistically for the University of Minnesota Duluth. He is a senior at age 22. Again, 6'4", 210 pounds. Might be a nice Willie Mitchell type one day. Maybe. A guy who is mostly physical, but can add a couple points here and there. Maybe a 15 to 20 point guy in the NHL one day, hopefully. Jordan Greenway, Boston University, quieting down a little bit, and then picking up again, actually. 7 goals, 15 assists now so far, 22 points for Boston University. Only a sophomore. Again, everybody expects him to be on Iowa next year the way he's going. Just, wow, he is doing a fantastic job for Boston University, and we couldn't be happier about that. Luke Kunin, whose club beat the Wild last week. The Wild were good. The Gophers last week, pardon me. The Gophers won the first game, and then they got their butts kicked in the second. Luke Kunin, a factor, continuing into this weekend. 20 goals. Nope, in only 20 games played, 15 goals already, 9 assists, 24 points in only 20 games for the sophomore under Tony Granato's Wisconsin Badgers there. Very impressed. Luke Kunin, absolutely doing a great job. The captain of the U.S. team in the Junior Cup there. Man, fun to keep up with these guys. So that pretty much should wrap it up at the moment. Guys like Adam Gilmore still kind of lulling around in Iowa, not having the best success at this point. Only 10 points in 41 games for him. Bursky, a guy the Wild may have called up, and they decided not to. He's back down in Iowa. He's still 15 points in 38 games. He started off the season terribly, picked it up for a little while, and then slowed down again, and that's just kind of the way it is. It's a game of streaks. I mean, can I just continue to say that? It is a game of streaks. Tyler Graovac, though, that's a game of, I don't know, maybe he's just not that good. Mahalik and Stalock, just phenomenal down there, carrying that team in that sense. The guys are starting to score more down there, but they're also hitting great goaltending. Both of them at 2.6 goals against. Stalock, actually, with a little bit better win-loss record, 13-10. And again, if it weren't for Kemper's one-way contract, I would love to see Stalock on the Minnesota Wild at this point, and Kemper down in Iowa, maybe to kind of hone his skills a little bit. I don't know what to say about Kemper, but maybe the Calgary game can help boost a little confidence. We'll just have to wait and see and let that play out as it does. All right. Well, I want to thank you guys very much again for listening to this show, for your loyalty. Please do tell a friend. It would be greatly appreciated. There's the Twitter account at Brave the Wild, at Brave the Wild. The Facebook page is facebook.com/Brave the Wild. Please like and follow the Facebook and Twitter accounts. It would be greatly appreciated. There's also a way to get a hold of me and get on this show. You can. It's a voicemail. Do treat it as such. It is 209-736-7877. 209-736-7877. It is a voicemail. Do treat it as such. Mention you're calling in to Brave the Wild. Your statement, shout out, comment, question, whatever it is. Keep it from 1 to 3 minutes if you could. Yeah, you're welcome to 3 minutes on here. Believe me. Yep, absolutely. That's the call button from your cell phone. Then there's the call now button on the Facebook page. It goes in right through Facebook Messenger. It's free if you're international or whatever. So you can get right on in no matter if you're from Canada, Australia, New Zealand, whatever it is. You're more than welcome on this show. From Russia, maybe, as the Wild are trying to get a little more of a Russian vibe. I think you're going to get a Russian vibe of Sokolov and Kaprizov come to the Wild. Kirill Kaprizov for sure will be here one day. Sokolov, I think, absolutely is an immense talent, and I think he will be on the Wild as well one day. You'll have a little bit of Russia going on with the Wild as those guys continue to develop. Kaprizov will be here first, most likely, because I think he's further along, and it's a little more difficult over there than the OHL. That's just my opinion, right? Yeah, I'm sure other people agree. But those are multiple ways to get on the show. The final way to get on as well with the voice is using your free audio recorder on your smart device. Use it, treat it as a phone call, and then email it. Save the file, email it to paladinolive@yahoo.com, paladinolive@yahoo.com. All this information will be in the show description. Again, please tell your friends about the show. Please rate Brave the Wild on iTunes or Stitcher. Would be greatly appreciated. I'll be more than happy to give you a shout out and a thank you right here on air. Thank you again. God bless, and stay healthy during that All-Star break, and hopefully the Wild can take care of business against those Northwest rivals next week.